I just wanted to introduce our speaker. So this is Adam Garman from Ruoff. He has a very fancy title that Karen just reminded me of and I've forgotten already. In short, anything cool that Ruoff does that you like, Adam is the guy behind it. Any complaints that I have, he also has to take them. He taught me a lot about AI a few years ago and it's served me very, very well. And we thought that it would also serve you guys very well. So I'll just keep talking till Adam's ready. Great, right? Oh, look, here we are. Okay.
Thank you to Heather for that great introduction. I won't mention that was true, but it was very nice to say that. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys today. We're looking to help you supercharge your business with AI. So, what I've found is there's kind of varying degrees of familiarity with AI in general. Has anybody in here been using it quite a bit? Yeah, anybody in here that's never tried it at all? My hope today is that there are even a few people that have already been engaged in using it, that maybe you pick up a little something from this presentation. And certainly those of you that have never used it whatsoever, I'd like for you to be leaving here comfortable with it, right? And actually finding new ways to implement it within your business. It certainly can be very, very helpful. We're going to give you some examples. The fun part of today will be a little bit more towards the second half of the presentation where we get in there and we actually interact with an AI engine. Today we're going to use Grok. There's several of them that can use. But when you get in there and see kind of how quickly it can process your requests and how capable it is, it can really be a pretty impressive tool. So, that's our goal today is to give you some examples and demonstrations and help you overcome any reservations that you have. Maybe before we get into that, are there any reservations that you haven't wanted to share that I could address up front as to why you haven't been using it much already? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, if anything comes up, you have questions, feel free to let me know and I'm happy to answer those. So first of all, what is AI? AI, artificial intelligence, it's like teaching computers to think and learn and communicate like people. Basically, it's just trained on the entire internet. Right, it's trained on all of that information. It can process it in lightning fast speed and give you a response. Okay, I would also say don't be afraid of it. Right, AI won't replace humans, but humans using AI will replace humans without AI. Right, it'll give you a significant advantage. One of the things we'll talk about a little later is just that you don't want to be the one person that isn't using it when all of your competition is. Right, you don't want to be at that disadvantage. So a couple things that are important to remember before we get too deep into everything that it's capable of. Maybe first and foremost, especially in our industry, is to remember the compliance standards, right? You guys have regulations and compliance standards. What can you put in a listing? What can you not? What can you put in some marketing materials? What can you put on social media? I'm not super familiar with, from a real estate agent's perspective, what kind of regulation you guys are trying to navigate, but it's super important that you're familiar with that. I think one of the examples I was given ahead of time is that maybe in a property description said something along the lines that the home is perfect for families. Evidently, that's a little bit of a no-no. Right? Yeah. Might be smart to put in your request, your prompt, so to speak, to the AI engine to keep in mind the compliance standards and regulations within the real estate industry when it's giving you a response. Okay. It's the writer, you are the editor. It is very important that you read the content that is generated. It's not perfect. You're going to need to edit some of that. So be familiar with it. Even if you use it to generate pictures, look at those. Pro tip, count the fingers, right? They're not always right. The technology is evolving quickly, but we're still in the very, very early stages of what it will be capable of. I am not an AI expert necessarily. I am a regular guy that got in there and started to play with it and figure out what it was capable of. As far as the kind of the top end of what it's capable of, I haven't gotten too far into a lot of that, but that's because it's evolving so fast, it's very difficult to keep up with. I think I started maybe in my first presentation I ever did on this was about 2 years ago, and what it has grown to pretty much at that time, it was only ChatGPT that was an option, but now there are a handful or more of different AI engines you can use, and their capabilities just continue to grow and impress me every day. Okay? Remember, it's not always perfect, kind of the writer, the editor piece. You want to check and verify that information. Make sure that it's accurate. It does a very good and impressive job, but it is not perfect. I had a peer send an email the other day to like upper management. At the very bottom of the email, you could tell it read from ChatGPT because it was like in parentheses, it said your name, right? They forgot to remove any of that. They had some suggestions at the bottom on maybe how to improve the email, and I got fired off, and it just, obviously that's problematic. You don't want to do that. And to that too, and I would say, use it for inspiration. Don't copy and paste. You still want it to be authentic, right? You still want it to come from you. There's some things you can do to change the tone to make it sound like it comes more from you, and we'll go through that. But you want to be authentic. If somebody reads the email or whatever you're doing and realizes that this isn't coming from you and it's just from AI, it takes a little bit away from it, right? So I'm trying to keep that in mind. It's free. That's not so much a warning as it is just to let you know it's completely free. There are paid versions out there that may be a little bit more capable or will give you more inquiries or the ability to generate more images. But for 90+% of what you're looking to do, whether it's ChatGPT, Grok, I think Google's is called Gemini, there's another one called Perplexity. What they're capable of with the free version is really quite mind-blowing, okay? And then there's mobile apps that are available. You can download them for your phone, put them on your tablets, have them right there on your computer. They kind of sync, right? So if you're working on your computer one day and your phone app the other day, it kind of remembers the conversation histories, and they're all right there under your same account. But it is awfully handy to be able to use the app version on your phone. How will it benefit you? Springboard for creativity and inspiration. This is an excellent tool to help you brainstorm or inspire new ideas. I should add that this isn't just a professional thing, right? This is something that you can use in your personal life. Maybe you want to help come up with a fancy football name. Maybe you want it to help you with meal planning or vacation planning or product research, right? Very, very helpful in all of those. Reduces human errors, right? Whether you're talking about punctuation, misspelling, just being professional, it does a much better job than frankly any of us could likely do with all of that. Boost your productivity. There are a number of tasks that I've used AI for that would take me hours, days, or weeks, and it can have done in a matter of minutes or seconds, right? So you certainly can be much more productive. Even if you just use it for that springboard for creativity or inspiration to help you save a little bit of time, it very much so will help you boost your productivity. Stay competitive. We talked about this earlier, right? Like you don't want to be the only agent in the room that isn't using this to help their business, right? It is not going away anytime soon. So if you have some reluctance, I would try to push that to the side and get in there. And I'm going to give you some easy ways to get in there and just kind of get familiar with it. So you can ease into it a little bit, and then you can use it for more and more and more as you get more comfortable with it. Effortless content generation, right? Maybe you wanted to send a newsletter to your clients, but you don't have the time or creativity to draft a newsletter every single week. Maybe you want to be more active on social media, but you don't know where to start. All of that can become much, much easier leaning into AI to help you, okay? And again, I'm going to show you examples on all of this. I tried to put as little preparation into kind of mapping out those topics as possible so that you could realize how easy it is to navigate just kind of not knowing a whole lot about it or not being too prepared for the prompts you're going to do. What can you use it for? This is an excellent tool to help you create a memorable experience for your buyers and sellers. Writing personal notes and thank you cards, right? If you want to write a better personal note, right, if you're trying to stay in touch with past clients or thank a current client, but you want to just kind of connect with them in a better way, reference something through the transaction, just have a very well-written card, it can help you with that. Right? Some of us are better at that than others. This is a great way, and I'll show you an example later. Writing a personal bio for your website. I think this is an excellent one for those of you that have never used AI before. Right? Maybe you're happy with your bio. I know I had my bio on my website for 8 years and I knew it was horrible and it needed to be updated. And I just kept pushing it aside because it just wasn't my thing in that way. One day I decided, why am I not using AI for this? And I put a few fun facts about myself, my business, my passions, my family in there. And a minute later, I had a bio that was far more impressive than I could have hired somebody to do, right? So if you have some reservations, or you're a bit reluctant to get in there, that's a great spot to start. Maybe you don't even use it for your bio, but you'll at least see how capable it is and how quickly it will work. Marketing campaigns or social media ideas. Maybe you want to put together, maybe a more complex campaign. Maybe it's just something on social media geared towards first-time buyers or veterans, or using down payment assistance, or why it's still a good idea to purchase or sell in this market, even with rates being where they're at. You can tell how long you want the campaign to be, how much of it you want to be just post, or have pictures, or have a video. It'll help you write your video scripts. It'll suggest the image for the pictures. Okay, these are all things that I'm going to walk you through once we get into the demonstration here in a bit. Video creation and script writing. Video is the way of the future, right? If you're not doing video now, you probably should be doing some video now. None of us like the way we look or sound on video. None of us care the way anyone else looks or sounds on video, right? So kind of keep that in the back of your mind. And if you need help wondering what topics would be good, what should my script sound like? What timeline should I keep it to? Again, excellent for inspiration on all of those things. Explaining complex terms or concepts, right? Occasionally you'll have a client that's wondering, what is an appraisal versus an inspection? Maybe you do a good job explaining that. Maybe you want a little bit of help with it. Maybe they need to know what earnest money is, or how long a closing is going to take, or why it's important to be pre-approved. Shout out to your lender back there before they go to purchase. Okay, and this can really help you draft that explanation pretty quickly. Trainings or presentations. Now you can actually upload PowerPoint presentations, you can upload PDFs, you can upload Word docs, you can upload pictures, and it can process all of that and give you suggestions on how to make any of those better. Maybe it's searching a large PDF to reference a guideline or find a specific comment. You can upload it and ask it to search that PDF and help you with that. General inspiration, we talked about that a little bit earlier. Reference letters. I had a family member that needed a reference letter for a judge. We won't really get into the specifics of that, right? But he needed that, and I was able to do something very, very impressive that he could, take into court with him. That was just far better than I could ever do. Well-written reviews or testimonials. We're in a networking business. All of us are, right? And we love those reviews or testimonials when they come into us. But the best way a lot of times to do that is to do those for some of the other partners that you work with, right? So if you're not very good at writing those reviews, a lot of times some of us are quick to say when we're unhappy with something, but if somebody does a fantastic job, we don't rush to Google and put a review in. Maybe you need a little help writing something like that. And again, AI is a fantastic way to do that. I recently took a UTV trip down to West Virginia, and we hired a guide for that trip, and they did a fantastic job. And I had AI help me prepare a review or a testimonial that he could put on his Google page. He was very, very appreciative of that. Product reviews and research, right? Maybe you want to know which car is better than another car, which product's better than another product. There's now some deep search functions, and specifically on Grok, that will help you do a lot of that research. And you would be amazed. I think like Google search engines are a thing of the past anymore. Most people are using AI to search for anything or do all of their research. And I just think you'll be pretty impressed if you use it for that as well. Replacing search engines. Got a little ahead of myself there. And then coding, right? I don't know a thing about coding, right? I've never written code for anything in my life. But for fun, I had one of the AI engines help me kind of code a little Asteroid video game. It's helped me code some things within an Excel spreadsheet. I'll show you an example of that a little bit later and share it with you. The spreadsheet's actually designed for realtors, so it might be a good thing for us to share with you after the presentation. But you kind of just tell it what you want and it'll prepare the code for you, right? So if you have kids up there that are studying and want to be programmers or developers, they may want to pivot away from that, right? AI is definitely going to replace content writers, coding. There are some things that AI will take over almost completely, I think, within the next 5 years or so. Okay, some tips for using AI. Be polite, please, say please and thank you. I say that because when they take over the world, right, I want them to remember I was nice to them, okay? Funny fact about this, and this kind of is relevant to maybe some reservations that could be out there or out there in general. I'm going to put that in my presentation. Come to find out, one of the guys that created ChatGPT was like, please stop saying please and thank you because it's costing us thousands of dollars in processing power, right? Just you putting that in the prompts. That being said, I'm gonna err on the side of caution and still use thank you when I do it. Asking for help. If you just don't know where to start, right? Maybe it's even your bio. Ask it for help, right? You can just ask it right there. Ask me 10 questions about me that would help you prepare a bio for my work website, right? For social media. And then it'll kind of walk you through that. And it really works that way for about anything that you want to do. Okay, you can start real simple and then kind of mold it and manipulate the final response based on additional prompts you can put in afterwards. Ask specific questions instead of broad or vague inquiries. You know, the more specific you are, the more specific you can expect the response to be when it comes back. That's not to say that nowadays they can handle some pretty complex prompts or requests or questions. But if you're having a hard time getting exactly what you want, scale it back a little bit, be a little bit more specific, and then build on it from there. Experiment and iterate, try different things, right? This is kind of how I've learned AI in general. I just got in there and started experimenting with it. If I gave it a prompt, it couldn't handle it. You'd find that out very quickly. But just get in there and play with it a little bit and you'll see how capable it is and how quick it can pivot one direction or another. We talked about this, review and edit the response. Just read through it, right? Very rarely does the first response I get meet my needs. Sometimes it will need to be less professional, more casual, shorter, longer, touch on an additional topic, right? I will get very close to finishing a project within AI and then ask it, what suggestions do you have for me to make this even better, right? And then it'll give me a list of suggestions that I'm pretty impressed with the majority of the time. Provide context and define your goals, right? So let it know, what are you trying to accomplish, but maybe give us some context. I give it kind of my career history, right? What my role is, what I'm trying to accomplish, who I work with. And then it kind of keeps that in mind. Very often I'll put a prompt into an AI engine and it'll give me a response. And then it will say, hey, because you also asked me about something else related to this 2 months ago, I'm going to relate this to it for you, right? And tell you. Maybe that's why you're asking, maybe it's not, but I'm just gonna share it with you. So it remembers a lot of what you've done in the past. There's a way around that too, right? If you don't always want it to do that, but it's pretty handy that it kind of keeps all that context to help it provide a better answer, more specific to what you're trying to do. Understand its capabilities, right? What's it good at? What's it bad at? You know, as you get more familiar with it, you'll understand that and use it accordingly. Keep the conversation on track. Maybe it just completely misunderstands your request, then just let it know, right? That's not at all what I was looking for. This is what I'm looking for. It'll apologize and then give you a different response. Use prompts effectively. We'll go through some different prompts that you can use, but the more familiar you are with maybe how to structure a prompt, the better results will be for you. Here's some examples, right? I'm going to buzz through these so we can really get into the demonstration portion here. Client communication. Can you write an email drip campaign of 6 emails to send out over the course of 6 months to my past clients around selling their homes, what's in it for them, why they might want to sell, and what that might mean for them? Social media. Can you write 20 social media posts that talk about how to start your day out for success? Use emojis and make the tone friendly and conversational. I would add to the social media piece, maybe you want it to be just really funny. Maybe you want it to be engaging, right? So people are commenting on it, they're sharing it, they're liking it, and you want them to rewrite the suggested post, keeping that in mind, right? The more engagement you get on social media is certainly better. So that's something you could add to that. Blog posts. It's all about providing value, whether it's us to our partners or you to your clients. You want to be able to provide some value, but maybe you're just not the best writer. You know, you could have 5 blog posts written within a matter of 2 minutes that you could then blast out to your clients whenever you think, you know, you want to send those out weekly, monthly, whatever it may be. Video scripts. Please write 5 1-minute video scripts. I recommend if you are doing videos on social media, to keep them less than a minute. Right? Fun fact, the average person's attention span is 8 seconds, right? You grab their attention within 8 seconds on social media, they're gonna scroll to the next thing. So you kind of have to keep that in mind. It can't be too long, it can't be drawn out. And obviously AI can help you get that kind of done. Client facts. Can you help me create a moving checklist for military movers? Really, this could be applied to anybody, you know, military was example here. Maybe you already give your clients something like that at or near the closing, but if not, you could have that prepared in a matter of seconds, right? And you have it available to give to your clients. I'd imagine much like us as loan officers, you as real estate agents are trying to find a way to set yourself apart, right? There are a lot of realtors in your area. And you want to be able to differentiate yourself a little bit. Providing additional value is a great way to go about doing that. Inquisition. Write a list of 10 questions to ask the seller during a listing presentation to better understand their needs and goals. You'll never go wrong having a better understanding of your client's needs and goals, right? And asking the right questions will lead you directly to that. Maybe you don't know what questions to ask. This can help. Market trends report, write a summary of current real estate market trends and statistics in Bloomington, Indiana, and how they affect buyers and sellers. Client education, write an email on the importance of being pre-approved before starting your home search. If you're buying leads, you're probably not going to show every single person that reaches out to you or that you get a hold of a home until you make sure that they're qualified. Maybe you want to have a kind of a templated email ready to go to emphasize the importance of that to them, and this would help you draft that pretty quickly. The first response very well may come across as way too professional. This just doesn't even sound like me. Then you can tell it that and kind of have it massage the resolve so that it is a little more casual or does sound a little bit more like it's coming from you. Client appreciation. Draft a thank you letter to express gratitude to a client for choosing your services or referring a friend. Obviously, it's important, in my opinion, to reward a positive behavior, right? If they do something like refer a client to you, you want to make sure that you thank them every single time. If you can do that with a well-written thank you letter and make an impression on them, I think that's a win. Catchy headlines. Talked about people having a very short attention span. If you're writing blog posts or headlines for anything, it's important that it kind of grabs their attention. Okay, maybe you're a good copywriter. I am not, right? So this would help me draft headlines that are going to be catchy and grab their attention. Okay. Okay, we're getting ready to go into the demonstration pieces, but these are just probably, I would say maybe the 3 most common AI engines. Grok is associated with Twitter, right? If you have a Twitter account, an X account, Grok should already be at the very bottom of your screen. You can download a separate app that's specific for Grok. I enjoyed using that quite a bit. ChatGPT, also very good. They were probably the first one to enter this space, and they're also growing very, very quickly. I would say between Grok and ChatGPT, those are maybe the 2 leading AI providers that are available right now, while Perplexity also does a very, very good job. They all look very similar, they all feel very similar, and they're all very, very capable. Okay. I'm going to get into a few different demonstrations now before I get into that screen. So let me switch this over. Whoops. How do I get my mouse back here? You lost this guy before. Remember what we did for that? The mouse is gone?
It's there.
Where at?
If you look at your screen, you can see it.
Oh, that is not on this screen.
Oh, it does. You gotta do it.
That could make this more challenging. Now it's back. Now we're back. Okay.
Okay, ChatGPT out there.
Okay, so this is Grok. Let me show you a few things on this, but I can get some results up.
Showing lots of good.
We good? No, we're not. You got that piece? Well, I pull this up. All right, there we go. So let's draft a thank you card for somebody. Did everybody read that? No? No? Okay. Congratulations on closing on your new home in Bloomington. It's been a pleasure working with you to find the perfect place to start this exciting chapter with your newborn son and be closer to family. I can only imagine how special it'll be to raise him here, surrounded by loved ones and the vibrant energy of this community. As fellow fans of baseball and IU basketball, I'm thrilled you're now part of the Hoosier family. Here's to cheering on the Hoosiers at Assembly Hall and catching some games at Bart Kaufman Field together in the future. Wishing you countless joyful memories in your new home. Thank you for trusting me with this journey. If you ever need anything real estate related or just a local tip, don't hesitate to reach out, okay? So maybe that's good enough. Maybe it just doesn't quite sound like you, and we want to make it a little bit more casual, okay? Yeah. That's scary. What was scary? Congrats on snagging your new place in Bloomington. It was awesome helping you find the perfect spot to settle in with your little guy and be closer to family. I bet it's gonna be a blast raising him here. Since we're both big into baseball and IU basketball, I'm stoked you're now part of the Hoosier crew. Can't wait to catch some IU games or maybe hit up Bart Kaufman Field with you. Here's to making tons of memories in your new home, right? And maybe you're just taking bits and pieces out of each little response to kind of splice together what your response is going to be, but it's great for inspiration for that. And it kind of lets them know you paid a little bit of attention, right? You were intentional about getting to know them through the transaction, and then you kept that information, and then you're referencing it to show them that with this letter. Maybe they closed a year ago and you're sending something similar as a congrats on being in their home for a new year. Yes.
I was gonna say, I found that the talk to chat in this is so much better than even like trying to send message by text.
That's
So like for
True.
them, they can do it in their car while they're, traveling around so much more easily and it gets it right. Like, I don't know why it's so much better than trying to send a text message, but.
It really does. Go ahead.
What did you do to change it from formal to?
I just typed in another response over here, right? So you see on this left-hand side of the screen, I'm just typing here, can you make it a little more casual? And then it does so, right? And I'm typing it right down into here, right? And I'm building on this chat. And then that's one chat. If I wanted to start a new chat, you can always start that with this, little pencil in the box here, right? And then you start a whole new conversation with that, right? These are just for fun. I don't suggest these, right? Can you make this sound like it came from Snoop Dogg?
You just don't. There it is.
There it is. Okay, for those of you in the back, right? Big congrats on locking down that dope new crib in Bloomington, Bo Shizzle. It was straight up cool riding with you to find the perfect pad for you, your little homie, and the fan to kick it closer to your people. Bet it's gonna be all love raising that little G in this tight spot, right? Again, I don't recommend this, but just to show you kind of what it's capable of.
I think there it is. John Rivers, this one. John Rivers.
Oh.
We are.
Can't have Joe Rivers without Darling in there somewhere, right? Can we talk? You just scored a fabulous new home in Bloomington, Mazel Tov, honey. I'm positively Valley, I don't even know what that means, over how we found you the perfect place to nest with that adorable newborn of yours and cozy up closer to your family. Raising that little angel here, oh, it's going to be divine, like a Hallmark movie with better hair. let's not kid ourselves. You and I are practically soulmates with our baseball obsession and the IU basketball mania. Go Hoosiers, am I right? Now that you're a Bloomington Bay, we're so hitting up Assembly Hall, scream our heads off, or pitch a game at Park Coughlin Field. Trust me, we'll be the loudest fans there, and I'll bring the good lifts there. Thank you for letting me play matchmaker with your dream house. It was a hoot. Need a hot tip on where to grab a martini or some real estate dish? Call me sweetheart, I'm your girl. Kisses and fabulous vibes. That your name part, that's the part you want to change. Okay? You don't want to leave it like that. Okay. So, you know, whether you write a personal note, right? If anybody in here is familiar with Buffini and using personal notes to like stay in touch with your database after closing, this is another good way to make it so where you're not just reaching out asking for real estate referrals, you're building more of a connection and a personal relationship, but you're still staying top of mind in a way. And I think it can be very helpful. Maybe you don't need it for thank you cards or personal notes, but they can help you at least with the inspiration. Okay. Let's see here. So we're gonna start a new chat. See, we start a new chat right here. And let's create a social media campaign. Oh, whoops. Now I'm in trouble. I wrote yes. Good point.
Also.
I'm looking to create a social media campaign over a 2-week span that includes pictures with each post and one with a video. The topic should be on why now is a good time to buy, even while rates are a little higher. Include a description of the pictures and a script for the video. Okay. So, campaign will run for 14 days across these platforms. It kind of recaps the goals, right? Educate home buyers on why now is the strategic time to buy, build trust and engagement with the audience, drive inquiries to a real estate agent or a lender, customizable call to action. So week 1, it gives you this post. Day 1 post. Thinking about buying a home but worried about rates, now's actually a great time. With fewer buyers in the market, you face less competition, meaning better chance to negotiate and snag your dream home. And then it gives you a description of the image. A cozy, modern home exterior with a for sale sign in the front yard, taken during golden hour for warm lighting. The sign has a price slash sticker to emphasize deals. Bad. So it's like, you know, maybe I want to be better on social media. When we do business planning at the end of every year, every loan officer wants to be better at social media. But they just get stumped sometimes. They don't know what to post. They don't know what picture to include. And this will help with some of that, right? The second one, rates can be refinanced. Higher rates today don't mean higher rates forever. You can refinance when rates drop, locking in your dream home now at a great price. Don't wait. Prices are stabilizing. Contact us to explore your options. And then a description of a picture for a close-up of a smiling couple. Close. This gives you a description of each one, right? Day 3, buying now means you start building equity sooner. Every payment gets you closer to owning your home outright, even with higher interest rates. You may not use all of these, but it'll give you some of them to use. I recommend, you know, mixing all of your business posts in with some personal content, right? If you do want to grow your business on social media, this isn't really related to AI. It's just my opinion. You're trying to build deeper relationships with your past clients, and they don't really want to see real estate posts every single day, right? They want to see your family. They want to see your vacations. They want to see your kids, your pets, your favorite sports teams, your concerts, your, you know, maybe a delicious meal that you've made or have went to. want to find a way to connect with them, kind of humanize yourself. You're not just a realtor, right? You're their friend that's also a real estate agent, right? So 80% of your content should be personal content. And then another 20% of that is business content. Sprinkle in just enough business content to remind them that you're a realtor and you're staying top of mind, okay? You don't want to post a client testimonial every day of the week. Most people don't care much about that. It's just a good way to remind them occasionally that you're a real estate agent. And this can help you build out the campaign for the business part of it, so you have that content ready to go. Maybe you're focused more on veteran buyers, and we could pivot quickly to tell them, you know, we want this focused on veterans. Maybe here, I talked earlier about engagement on social media, right? You want people to share your posts, you want them to like your post, you want them to comment on your post. So these aren't necessarily, in my opinion, the most engaging post. So we want to tell it, please, right? Make these posts more engaging to drive comments, likes, and shares. It was wild to me that it can recreate a 2-week social media campaign, but it took 2 minutes to redo an email in Snoop's voice, right? Like, I mean, this happens very, very quick wide. So now you see in these posts here, like this very first one, it ends with, what's your must-have home feature? Okay. So now you're encouraging people to post their specific must-have home feature in the comments, right? Because if they comment on it, now just not all of your friends are going to see it, but all of their friends should see it. Okay. The next one below, ever refinanced before? Share your story, right? What's your big reason for wanting a home, right? Maybe don't do that one. You know, what's your big reason for wanting a home, right? You just want people to find a reason to comment on this stuff so that it drives more engagement and it exponentially increases the exposure on social media. Share this with someone who needs a nudge to buy today. All of them will have a little bit of a different one, okay? I do want to point out though real quick the video, right? Because day 6 post is the video. So you'll notice it gives you the caption there. Still waiting to buy a home. This 1-minute video spills out why not now's the best time to jump in, even with higher interest rates. Watch, share, and drop a house if you're ready. And then it gives you your description of the video, a 60-second high-energy video with charismatic real estate agent and a sleek office. Behind them, a digital screen flashes homes and trending graphs. Fast cuts, upbeat music, text overlays, and then it gives you your script, right? Maybe you don't like that script and you want something to change about it. All you have to do is type that in there and ask it to make that change, okay? Even some of these images you can create right there if you don't already have access to them. So I'm going to give you a quick example on that. Create an image of a couple standing in front of their new beautiful home holding a set of keys. Fingers crossed that they have the right amount of fingers. See, the image on the left doesn't make a lot of sense, right? He's trying. Maybe she's withholding the key from him. You know, the image on the right makes more sense. Most of those. Her fingers on the one on the left are a little questionable. Even a little bit on the right, right? But it gives you a general picture there. Sometimes it nails that, sometimes it doesn't. Maybe you can stay away from the fingers. Let's see.
No finger.
Make it a log home with a beautiful deck on the. She just won't let him have that key. Okay, but you see, just real quick, it's a quick pivot there.
What if you want the picture of the one on the right, but the couple person on the left picture?
let's try. This is the danger, right? We're just playing this by ear, so it could go horribly bad. Could you use the home on the, which home, the right? Right. But the couple shown on the left.
No, it was not this.
It just swaps.
Switch the photo.
Right, it's just swapping it. So that part, you probably start from scratch, right? Just don't ask it to switch them, just start from scratch. You can really use it for quite a bit of stuff. Here, create a picture of a panda wearing a sweatshirt, playing a ukulele. Not sure what you would ever use this for, right?
This the candy right.
Most of that looks right, okay? So this is an example of kind of how wild your requests could be.
So are they making these?
They're making these. They are not pulling these off of existing pictures on the internet.
So you do not have to worry about any copyright issues.
Correct, correct, right?
Those settings at the top change the way the results come up, but the drop in.
Yeah, so that's a good point. Grok in particular has given you some other suggestions there. If you just wanted to add a top hat, you can click on that and it should regenerate it. Hopefully with a top hat on the panda.
Sorry, I'm at the bottom of the trading.
Oh, okay, okay. Another good point, but there's our top hat, pretty quick like. So she's talking about down here, hey, this is Grok, this is where you upload an attachment. This is a deep search function, where if you wanted to do like deeper research or scour the internet and really take some time to do it. And then there's a thing, right, like real complex problems. I had a scenario one time where we needed to adjust a purchase price to accommodate some repairs that happened and the seller needed to net a certain number and we needed to get it all right. And I put that in and it walked through and did all of it for us to show exactly how those numbers needed to be. But that's just more of a think mode. And then down here is where you can select from either Grok 3, which is the most recent version of Grok, or like Grok 2 or different versions of it that maybe aren't as robust or as capable, okay?
If we had instructed with that, then we were trying to get it to switch the home to the other house, if we had said substitute a couple from photo number 1 to.
Right, so,
couple from photo number
um,
2, would that have made a difference to them?
so over here on the left side of the screen, you have a history of everything that you've requested it to do, okay? So in this case, we'll go back to where you were at. We'll put substitute
Substitute a couple from photo number 2.
couple from photo 2 into photo 1. Still not, right? Still not what we were looking for.
No,
Okay,
they can do it.
right, so
Yeah.
probably start from scratch, right? And let's ask it, why? So, the man on that photo to the right has an empty hand and should be holding a key. Let me fix that. I didn't even put empty hand, right? There's a typo. Hopefully it still reads it correctly. Nope, they don't want to give that guy a key for nothing.
No kidding.
So you just kind of have to play with it,
No.
right? We're flying through these and I want to get you.
So it's great fun for nation.
So, I don't want to get into a spot here where. Anybody have the address of a maybe high-end home off the top of their head? I can search something on realtor.com to help us with that. I want to show you something I found to be pretty cool. It's got for, I don't know, about 700,000 or so. And just okay. Nobody in here has the listing at 5007 West Michael Lane, right? Now's your chance. Okay, good. Act as a realtor and help me create a world-class listing presentation for the home located at 5007 West Michael Lane in Bloomington, Indiana. This should be a pretty robust response that it's going to show us here. But I think you can take something from it, right? So this is how they put the presentation together. Selling your home at this address is more than a transaction. It's an opportunity to showcase a lifestyle and achieve your financial goals. As your trusted realtor, I'm committed to delivering a seamless and stress-free experience with a world-class marketing strategy tailored to your property. This presentation outlines how we'll position your home to attract the right buyers and secure the highest price possible, okay? I'm not gonna read everything here because it'll take us quite a while, but it goes through here. And first of all, it shows why choose me as your realtor, right? Your expertise, your knowledge, your service, your results driven, your team and your resources, whether it's photographers, videographers, staging the home, access to certain networks, cutting edge technology, goes into the home in general, right? Property highlights. I gave it an address, right? Everything else it would have found. It's going through the square footage, the rooms, ideal for families or remote professionals, modern upgrades, outdoor oasis, prime location, lifestyle appeal, unique selling points, goes through and gives you a market analysis, right, for Bloomington in general, comparable comps, right, whether those are accurate. Obviously, you're going to want to research all of this to make sure that it's going to work. Then it gets into a strategic marketing plan, right? Staging, photography, virtual tours, multi-channel marketing through the MLS, through social media, through email campaigns, through print media. Maybe all these aren't going to apply to you and you're not going to do them, but it'll help you figure out how to put yourself in the best position possible when you get in front of that potential seller to hopefully land that listing, okay? The selling process, it'll walk them through expectations as far as what to expect, preparation, launch, showing, closings. We feel like it's super important to set accurate expectations with a client when you're going through the process, and I'd imagine you do as well. Estimated cost, right? It gets into commissions, closing costs, staging costs, value-added services that you could potentially offer, why now's a good time to sell, next steps. You know, so if you put together something like this and sent it out, I just think you're going to be in a much stronger position to be able to get that seller's attention and ideally earn that specific listing. If you found information in there that's inaccurate, just address it again, right? Write a quick note to tell it whatever was inaccurate and have it adjusted. Again, you can use it for questions about the process, right? Maybe you're not sure how to address a client. I have a client that is pushing back on my commission. Can you help me with strategies to address that? Handling a client pushing back on your commission requires a mix of empathy, clear communication, and strategic negotiation. Here's some practical strategies. Listen and understand their concerns, reinforce your value, frame the commission as an investment, offer flexibility without undervaluing yourself, anchor the conversation in fairness, know when to stand firm and walk away, document agreements clearly, right? You guys are probably more than familiar with how to address that objection or that concern, but maybe you just want a little bit more help with it, okay? Easily you can do that. Another thing I'll show you real quick, because we're running close to time here, is I'm gonna pull up the Grok version in the voice mode. We mentioned that earlier, how it's a little bit easier to do it. Okay. I'm working with a client and need help translating. They speak Spanish. Can you ask them, I'd love to be your realtor, and talk more with you about listing your home. Do you have a few minutes for us to chat?
Me encantaría ser tu agente inmobiliario y hablar más contigo sobre la venta de tu casa. Tienes unos minutos para que charlemos.
Can you do that in French instead?
J'aimerais être votre agent immobilier et discuter davantage avec vous de la mise en vente de votre maison. Avez-vous quelques minutes pour que nous puissions parler?
How about in Mandarin?
我很想成为你的房地产经纪人，和你多谈谈关于挂牌出售你房子的事情。你有几分钟时间，我们可以聊聊吗？
Okay, so that's just a quick example, right? If you have one of those foreign borrowers that doesn't. Shut that down. There's some more fun and maybe borderline inappropriate modes that you can mess with on that too. But you know, we've all had those clients that maybe don't speak the best English, and it's like, where do I find a translator to deal with this? How much is it gonna cost me to pay a translator to be involved in this conversation? Whether it's you communicating to them or them communicating it back to you, the translator function could be super handy, right? And that's the virtual assistant can really help with anything. All of these prompts I typed in, I could have done through voice mode as well, right? And just talk to it in general. So whether you're generating pictures, videos, social media content, emails, want help with sales strategies or marketing plans, it really, the sky's the limit, right? And it's growing. So I would just encourage you to kind of get in there and mess with it a little bit and try it out. I'm going to try to see if I can't get the other screen back real quick, back to the PowerPoint presentation to show you a couple things here. So, whoops, walk through some of these. This one here is interesting. This is one of our loan officers that's in Ohio. Okay. Get back to where we want to be. He uses this. This is a video that he created. I'm gonna let you watch it real quick before I explain it to you.
Thank you so much for reaching out. We are super excited to be working with you. Navigating your home loan is one of those things today with technology that people think you pretty much can get a home loan anywhere, right? Go online, push a button.
Watch his mouth.
Get the
right?
loan.
Watch the
That's
hand
not the way it
movements.
works. When you're working with us, you'll find that we are really different from most of these push a button, get a loan lenders out there, because we know that it works differently across the board. So many clients have their own hopes, dreams, payment goals, etc. All of that's got to come together to help.
Okay, so the reason that that's interesting is because he didn't actually record that video, right? He recorded maybe 4 minutes of him talking, wearing that outfit. And then from there on, all he has to do is type in his script and the AI engine will read it from him using his hands, his mouth is moving. You can't really tell that the mouth is off from the words that he's saying, right? So maybe you're uncomfortable shooting videos or you don't have time to shoot videos all the time. You could create, this is called an avatar, right? 'Cause maybe you don't always want to wear the same outfit when you're doing a video, so you can record several of those. And then you just have to type in the script and it'll publish that content just as if you shot a brand new video every time, right? That's interesting and also very concerning, right? If you've got video content out there of you, then somebody could take that, plug it into an AI engine and then replicate you. And in my mind, the first place I go is wiring instructions, right? Like in the real estate industry, like I wouldn't want one of my clients to get a video. They think it's from me that's telling them to wire money somewhere, right? So it's something for you to be aware of that's out there so your clients don't get into a little bit of a pickle because of that. But it's also super helpful if you want to publish more and more video content on your own, but you don't have the time or resources to shoot a new video every single week, right? You can get some of that work done up front and then be available for you to create a video like this pretty quickly, right? Just a couple quick things to show you and then we'll wrap up here.
Helps a lender understand what's important to you. And that's what we focus.
Okay, recap. Don't be shy. Jump in and experiment with this tool. It's a fantastic tool to use for inspiration. It's the writer, you're the editor, right? Be very, very careful that you're reviewing everything and not just pasting it into an email or a social media campaign. It can save you an unbelievable amount of time, right? Even if it's just general inspiration up front that you apply later. Be creative and open-minded to its potential applications, right? It's growing, you're gonna grow learning it. Test anything out that you want it to do and see what kind of result you get from it. Review all those results, use common sense when publishing. And AI is not going away, right? Those who embrace it will evolve and thrive, okay? Quick little plug, if you don't have our Real Up Agent app, this is something we've been putting a lot of work into. You can download it and monitor all of your file activity pretty easily. And then the loan officer can also push notifications through to you to your phone. And then we've been sending out that email every Monday that shows you new leads, notes with them, anybody that's active with us or has closed with us within the last 30 days. So it's just to kind of help communicate what's going on with your files that are with a rural loan officer. And then as a bonus piece of value, I wanted to offer you this spreadsheet. I'll leave this QR code up on the screen for a little bit once we're done, but I want to show you how this works. And then we'll email a copy of this out to anybody that's signed in and gave us a copy of your email address. But earlier today, we talked about the importance of staying top of mind with your clients. This spreadsheet is just a database. If you don't have the money or you don't have a CRM that you want to pay for every month, this is just an easy way for you to update and put your clients in here to make sure that you're staying in touch with them on a regular basis. These are free type fields that you can just type in, or you can hit this button up here and add a new client. So I'll give you a quick show of how this works, right? A+, if you're a Buffini follower, A+ means this person refers me business all the time, and I need to make an effort to stay in front of them regularly. The follow-up date's important here, so I'll put something within the next week. And the last contacted date is very important here, so I'm going to put something in here that's over a year old. Okay, and notes like, huge Yankees fan, dog named Cash, 2 kids. I don't really have 2 kids right now. Okay. Then it adds it successfully. So here's what's interesting about this. Cancel out of this, and you see in here, notice it's yellow. The reason it's yellow is because there's a follow-up date, or I'm sorry, a follow-up date within the next 7 days. So it turns yellow to remind you that this is a person you're supposed to contact within the next 7 days. Now I'm going to change that follow-up date to something that's more than a week from now. And you're going to notice it goes red. The reason it goes red is because the last time I was in touch with this person was over a year ago. So it's just reminding me that I need to reach out to them again because I haven't had any contact. I haven't sent them a personal note. I haven't invited them to a client appreciation party. I haven't called them to go through a market analysis or a review. So it's just time for me to stay in front of them. If you've ever heard know, like, and trust, or people want to work with people that they know, they like, and the trust, the only thing I'd add to that is them knowing you isn't good enough. You have to stay top of mind and you have to be kind of intentional about that. So this spreadsheet, we did a mastermind for some realtors in Fort Wayne last week, and this was part of that, leveraging your clients or your database to generate more business. This was something that we offered to them. You saw the way the new client button worked. That required some coding, right? Within Excel to be able to get that there. And AI helped me do all of the coding required for that. And so I built a spreadsheet out for them, and I just wanted to share it with you guys as well. We'll get a copy of it to you in case you can use it. Again, it's free just to help you stay in front of your database and kind of make sure you have some sort of a system there to ensure you're doing so. Okay. Any questions for me before we wrap up on AI in general?
Way to tie AI back to that database and go in on a regular basis and verify the address is still correct, the sound set it things like that.
I'm not sure of a way to do that I would trust, like that piece of it, like if a spouse were to pass away, like how AI would know that. You can upload your database, the spreadsheet right into an AI engine, and you could ask it those questions. I just don't know how thoroughly it would be able to search everywhere that would be able to identify those things, right? It may very well have access to those. I just don't want to mislead you, right? It may have access to those records if somebody has recently moved, so it could tell you that. I just don't know for sure. I do know that you can upload the spreadsheet and have it review it, and it just assess it in general.
Something similar, they use the paper, how it's original people, they're 10+ years old. But here is, I'm sending people that they're just gonna get mad. They got the whole, there's other people, they got a piece of mail and what department of this guy there, so that, I don't want to get that, I didn't ask them to.
Well, let's ask, right? I have a spreadsheet of past things that I could upload.
Okay, so Google her at Few Farms, ChatGPT her, she is a realtor and she's an AI expert and she does a ton of videos and trainings on it, and the stuff she does is like crazy mind blowing. But she's at a ton of conferences and stuff, so I was to speak about it, but I highly recommend her. One of the things she mentioned and one of the trainings was that like a system and stick with it. Because it gets to know you, it knows your language, it knows how you behave, what you like, what you don't like. Kind of like working with a personal assistant in real life, they kind of know what to do when you prepared to time. Or your spouse, what not to do, and what to do. So, that was, I thought a good suggestion was to take one and stick with it. So I had no,
Yeah, that's a fantastic suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your name?
Marky Lemons. MIRP.
So it looks like it can help with that, right? It can, there's some clarification on it's asking for, and then it's giving you different verification methods that it can check that, and then it can even output a new spreadsheet with a updated column to show you if there's a likelihood that they've recently moved, right? Which would probably be better, maybe it's not perfect, but it'd probably be better than going into that blind, right? To have a general idea if somebody did move or didn't move, right? Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. It's great to meet you.